One day in Sister Wives' world, Robin Brown and Mary were unexpectedly close. They were always together before Mary started to learn about Robin's real motives. But everything changed when Mary stepped back and looked at her life after leaving Cody Brown. What she discovered about Robin left her speechless, and their friendship was never the same afterwards. Robin came to join the Brown family in 2010, leaving her initial marriage, accompanied by her 3 children, who Cody later adopted. Right from the beginning, Robin moved swiftly into a place of favoritism within Cody's life, largely due to her absolute obedience. While the rest of the sister wives kept at arm's length, it was only Mary who extended the welcome mat to Robin. The two became friends, as Mary had her own tense relationships with Christine and Janelle. But was this all a true friendship? Or was Robin part of a much more sinister game? Over the years, the cracks started to appear. Janelle, in particular, did not keep it a secret that she was not impressed with the lifestyle and decisions of Robin. Actually, Janelle was so far as to call Robin a gold digger and how she only appeared to luxuriate in the privileges of family life, but not go through the same things as the rest. While the original wives cut back, labored, and rode out hard times together, Robin hung back, then later enjoyed the spoils after the tough times were over. And here is where things only become more complicated. While Robin once bragged about having a sister-like relationship with Mary, the dynamics fell apart when Mary left Cody for good. Abandoned and betrayed, Mary found herself gathering strength elsewhere, most of which came through new friendships that include her dearest friend Jen Sullivan, while Robin found herself completely left alone. The lady who seemed to have had so much clout in the family circle today stands with absolutely no one beside her. But why did Robin's meticulously built universe implode so dramatically? And might it be that the same manipulative strategies that gained her acceptance initially ultimately drove everyone else away? Tune in, because the next installment in the Sister Wives saga is guaranteed to reveal even more shocking secrets. In spite of all her attempts to win Cody over and claim him as hers alone, Robin Brown is now alone. What was once a bright future as Cody's favorite wife has become a solitary life. Robin had a hard time connecting with Janelle and Christine in the early years, but now it's worse. She has no friends left in the family. Her polarizing personality and double standards have alienated everyone, and now she must deal with the repercussions of her behavior. Even Cody's own kids have figured out his wife. His eldest son called out Robin's selfishness publicly, stating she only sees what she wants to see, and insinuating that she's always been looking out for herself. Christine has been seething with resentment towards Robin for a long time, claiming that she's been reaping the leftovers and always gets the best of everything. Their arguments on and off camera unveiled just how deeply the hate runs. Mary, once one of Robin's closest allies, also came to a painful realization. Throughout the pandemic, Mary remained loyal, staying by Cody's side when others stepped away. But when Mary needed support most, Robin turned her back. This betrayal opened Mary's eyes. Robin was never a true friend. In contrast, Janelle and Christine built each other up, forming a genuine bond that survived even as the family crumbled. Now, the original 3 wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine, have moved on with their lives. They've found happiness, autonomy, and a new sense of freedom free from the toxic burden of their former family structure. Robin, meanwhile, is alone, with no one left to turn to, and a relationship with Cody that increasingly appears strained. Her carefully constructed world is beginning to crumble. And don't forget Janelle's tale. Strong-minded and driven, she wed Cody at 24, attracted by the prospect of a lifestyle in which she could make her own way. With him, she had 6 children, and for some years, polygamy worked for her. But when discord broke out between Cody and their son, everything changed. Then, disaster hit with the devastating loss of Garrison last year. Having endured unimaginable heartbreak and disillusionment in Cody's actions, Janelle took the brave step of leaving it all behind. She's currently on the path to rebuilding her dreams and life from scratch. And although some will doubt her intentions and aspirations, one thing is certain: Janelle has taken back the reins of her tale. The question is, what's next for Robin, now that the family she facilitated splitting has moved on without her? Will she finally have to deal with the repercussions of what she did, or hold on to Cody as her sole salvation? Stay tuned, because this drama isn't over yet. In a move that was brash enough to raise more than a few eyebrows, Sister Wives star Janelle Brown bought a large 156-acre farm in North Carolina with her daughter Maddie. It was a risk, particularly since Maddie was the sole member of the party who ever even saw the property before they made the sale. But Janelle, never one to shy away from following her dreams, felt it was a risk she was willing to take. Now, however, the fans are beginning to wonder if she made the correct decision. Years of family turmoil and personal strife notwithstanding, Janelle was hoping that this new stage of life would bring her harmony and financial stability. Unfortunately, however, things have not gone smoothly. She intended to construct a residence on the land after she sold both her properties in Flagstaff and Coyote Pass, but ran headfirst into obstacles. Coastal and sea permits proved a significant obstacle, bogging down her plans at the very point when they were reaching full speed. And that is just one of her problems. Janelle also encountered permitting issues she never anticipated with the farm itself. One of her initial ideas was to create a garden behind her house, but bureaucracy intervened, and she was turned down. Add to that, she's been fighting small setbacks at home as well, such as an annoying attempt to get her driver's license renewed, which failed due to a missing paper. But of all the challenges that are most disturbing is her new business venture. Janelle, who has a spotty track record with entrepreneurial endeavors, has followers concerned about whether she's done it again, in setting herself up for another failure. Sister Wives followers have watched her pursue numerous concepts in the years since the family began starring on the show, from experimenting with real estate to getting involved in the family's jewelry business, and even fantasizing about starting her own gym. Following her breakup with Cody in 2022, Janelle stepped out on faith and invested in what she referred to as Tata Farms. Desirous of a new beginning close to her daughter and grandchildren, she relocated to North Carolina and started making serious plans for her farm venture. The project was intriguing, but now, more than a year later, there is still no farming taking place on the ground. Fans are naturally worried. Was this a genuine move for freedom or another desperate decision? The odds appear to be against her as permit issues and business obstacles continue to mount. But if there is one thing that fans know about Janelle, it is that she does not give up without a fight. The question is, will this be the return story of a woman taking back her life on her own terms, or another installment in a series of broken dreams? Stay tuned, because this ride is far from over, and the next turn could be just around the corner. Janelle Brown has spoken out about yet another hurdle on the path to creating a new life: obtaining the required permits for her North Carolina farm. Just fighting coastal and zoning battles wasn't enough, it seems, because the world of agriculture is much more grueling than she ever could have envisioned. One of her fans didn't pull any punches, reminding her that the horticultural and agricultural communities can be mercilessly ruthless, particularly to someone jumping into it with no experience. And they're not mistaken. Farming is not simply a matter of land ownership. It's about knowing the soil, the seasons, the local codes, and the endless tedium it takes to coax a piece of property into productivity. North Carolina's climate and geography are far removed from the West, where Janelle grew up. Without a well-planned strategy, she stands to throw money into an investment that may never amount to anything. That worry isn't speculation either. Another viewer joined in, reminding everyone that farms are years in the making. It's not a matter of having grand ideas. Janelle will have to examine the potential of the land, create the appropriate infrastructure, and then move into permits and development. Currently, she appears still to be in the exploratory stage with no firm direction. Janelle herself acknowledged that it may take 5 years before the farm will begin generating any real income. She's ready for a long struggle and responds that she's willing to put in the work and time it'll require. But with increasing difficulties and an unsure strategy, fans are dismayed that she's charging headlong into financial disasters. Meanwhile, as Janelle battles it out back on the farm, another very personal drama takes place in the world of Sister Wives. What began as a sisterhood is now ice cold. A polygamous household's bond of camaraderie slowly eroding under the pressure of distrust and unfulfilled expectations. These two women were once together, weathering emotional storms and relying on one another for comfort. One was the veteran wife, the other a newcomer, entering the family with a soft, humble spirit and 3 children of her own. She wasn't seeking love, but safety and belonging. And initially, it appeared as though she found it. But slowly, things started to crack. Under their smiling faces and outward show of unity, cracks were starting to emerge. Rumors of manipulation, favoritism, and heavily constructed images began circulating. The woman who was once welcomed as a sister was now being accused of planning heartbreak behind the scenes. Now, the warmth of their friendship has been lost in silence. One of them has finally woken up to the realization that her best friend could have been the source of some of her greatest hurt. What began as a tale of hope and belonging has become a cautionary tale about trust, loyalty, and the scars that develop when friendships break under the limelight. And with so much yet to be revealed, from farm drama to broken friendships, Sister Wives viewers are holding their breath for whatever turns lie ahead. When Robin came into the family, it felt like a new beginning. A woman with 3 kids seeking security and home in a complicated household. The patriarch welcomed her children as his own, and for a short moment, everything seemed smooth. But beneath the carefully built harmony, a ripple of discomfort started to move through the other wives. After years of managing the complicated web of plural marriage, they sensed the change immediately, even though they couldn't yet articulate it. And yet, one of them reached out. Perhaps it was loneliness. Perhaps it was a recalcitrant belief that love and harmony could still be redeemed. Whatever the motivation, there was a spark of connection between these 2 women. They were confidants to one another, instant friends, and for a time, it appeared as though they had created a bond from which they would never break. But seasons change, and so did their intimacy. As the days went by, the affection between them diminished. The woman whose heart she had opened felt alone, betrayed by someone she had trusted like a sister. It wasn't an instantaneous breakdown. It was a gradual coming apart, little by little, small slights and subtle exclusions that added up over months. When she finally broke the hard news to leave the man they all once referred to as husband, the haze disappeared, and along with it was a stinging clarity she was not familiar with. In retrospect, she could see how emotional neglect had been camouflaged behind polite smiles and meaningless chatter. She could see favoritism masquerading as fairness, loyalty that was never really real. The betrayal was never boisterous. It was quiet, consistent, and masquerading as intimacy. And that's what made it hurt so profoundly. The bitter reality could no longer be denied. The woman she had stood up for, the one whom she thought was misunderstood, had secretly maneuvered herself into the position of the preferred wife. While acting as the victim, she had silently nudged the others aside, keeping them isolated while monopolizing the man's attention. The dynamics of the household changed. His ears only heard one voice anymore. What had once been a friendship born of common struggles and camaraderie had withered into tense silence. And after her marriage's dissolution, the woman who had once referred to her as a sister couldn't even find it in herself to offer a gentle word. The one she had confided in above all others had abandoned her alone, a victim of a home destroyed by favoritism, manipulation, and silent betrayals. In the end, no farewell, no call, no visit, not even a gesture of support. The woman who had once thought she believed in sisterhood sat alone to weep not just for the destruction of her marriage, but the destruction of a friendship she had cherished, and as sour, unshakable loyalty and happiness she had thought she'd lost forever. There is no pecking order, no competition, only truth, laughter, and healing in this new chapter. But the tale continues. In a world where every look, every utterance, and every treachery occurred in front of the cameras, the breakdown of this former close-knit group is still an object lesson regarding loyalty, trust, and the perilous price of seeking exclusivity at the expense of communalism. This article offers a moving portrait of emotional breakdown and the enduring repercussions of betrayal. It brushes against issues of loyalty, abandonment, and the dissolution of bonds once forged in common strife. The matriarch figure at its center, once exercising power and respect, is now isolated, estranged from the women once she called her sisters. Her inability to act in times of hardship, when they all endured, results in her increasing isolation, with the emotional cost of shattered promises and passivity. The rest of the women, who have created new lives and a sense of purpose, embody resilience and growth, leaving the shadows of the past behind. They are free from the same allegiances, with strength in solidarity and support, which is sharply different from the loneliness of the former matriarch. There is a poignancy in the way that her place, once one of influence and power, has reduced to something more empty, with silence and regret filling it. The underlying message here is that of emotional integrity and the price of losing hold of true connections. The dissolution of the once shared house stands for the tenuous quality of human relations when trust, loyalty, and truth are forgotten. It's a powerful meditation on how ruptures in community and personal lives have the power to leave enduring wounds, not only on the direct participants, but on the subsequent generations who have witnessed it as well. This is such a lovely retelling of Janelle Brown's self-reclamation and transformation after years of emotional turmoil. Janelle's life has not been without its challenges, with her having to cope with the emotional residue of her stormy marriage to Cody Brown and the heartbreaking loss of her son, Garrison. The collapse of her relationship with Cody, with the emerging chasm between him and her son, serves as a pivotal moment in her life. It's evident that this was a woman who was not about to stay tied to a past that no longer belonged to her. Divorcing Cody, even with the difficulty it took, is a dramatic act of personal freedom. Janelle's need for autonomy, so long repressed in a polygamous system, surfaces with full intensity. By purchasing a large property in North Carolina, she distances herself physically and emotionally from the past. This is more than a change of scenery. It's an assertion of independence, an opportunity to redefine her identity, independent of the relationship which previously defined her. The gossip about her farm choice complicates her tale. The challenges of beginning anew on a farm imply that her path is not an easy one. But this struggle appears to reflect the inner conflict she waged for so long, confronting the unknown in order to regain her happiness and peace. Her new life is, in a sense, a precarious balance between past and future. She is losing the weight of the past, but her history, her decisions, her kids, her previous marriage will never not be part of her. The North Carolina farm represents both flight and rebirth, embodying the risk and strength it takes to remake oneself. It's a path many know, escaping the past, risking everything, and facing change, even if it means uncertainty. This exploration of Janelle Brown's path defines her transformation in terms of depth and sensitivity. Her choice to leave behind a life that had ceased to be meaningful or sustainable reflects her courage and strength. The reclaiming of her agency after decades of inner turmoil within a polygamous marriage and with the burdens of family pressures is indeed a remarkable thing. The choice to move, buy a new house, and begin anew isn't merely a physical relocation. It's symbolic of her devotion to herself and her destiny. The intricacies of her plight, the gossip, the dynamics of farm life, and the healing of wounds speak volumes about how difficult it is to accept change. But her determination to meet those challenges directly, rather than falling back on a past that she no longer desired, is an indication of her strength. The North Carolina farm, with its new rich soil and uncertain prospects, is the epitome of moving forward in the face of what is unknown, which challenges are often part of getting to real self-reclamation. Her tale is familiar to many who want to leave behind something that is no longer working for them, relationship, job, or stage of life, and embark on a new one, no matter how painful the transition. It's a reminder that self-reinvention and discovery are accompanied by suffering and payoff. Knowledge of the land, the weather, and the subtleties of crop cultivation. Janelle's experimental method is a reflection of her resolve to learn through experience, but it also puts her at risk from not having existing agricultural knowledge. Her belief that the farm will ultimately thrive, even when immediate gains appear minimal, speaks to her persistence and foresight. It's evident she realizes that farming is a slow burn, that success may not arrive for years. But the issues with her poor preparation and uncertainty about her tolerance of the patience needed within this line of business are real. Farming is not just a matter of hard work. It is a matter of quick sensitivity to environmental factors and a persistent approach that can be modified in the long run. The question is if Janelle can bridge the gap between optimism and the realities of farming, which could take a few seasons to bear fruit. The patience and dedication she's shown up to now are admirable. But the real test will be how long she will be able to maintain her commitment when confronted by the adversities and waiting periods that come with farming. In a way, this tale also illustrates entrepreneurship, whereby success is not immediate, and the path to expansion is marked with hurdles that require strength. Janelle's experience reminds one that, although drive and effort are essential, preparation, experience, and flexibility are also key to achieving success in any new enterprise. Her viewers, who are anxiously following her journey, will most probably remain committed to her narrative, wishing her success, but also cognizant of the steep hill she is climbing. Whether she is able to overcome these hurdles and develop her farm into a successful enterprise is something that time will tell. The uncertainty and risk that she has to deal with are part of the process, and it will be fascinating to watch how she matures as an entrepreneur over the course of time. 40 mini